Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me this week is our gaming journalist, Eli.
How's it going, everyone?
Our pro gamer, Mike.
Hey guys, I'm Eli. How's it going, everyone?
Hey, second Eli. And our retro aficionado, Unoclay.
Hi guys, I'm Matt.
Perfect.
Or Asian gamer, Matt. now everybody thinks you're Asian who's never listened to the podcast before.
Maybe I am.
Maybe you are.
Shifty.
Maybe you are. Nice. How you guys been? I've missed you guys so much. I was Skyping the shit out of you guys from Japan. I was just like, I want to be on the podcast, but I had to go to another country.
Yeah,
how terrible for you.
Yeah, oh man, you had to enjoy yourself in another country.
You're like humble gloating. You're like, sorry guys, I gotta go to another.
I did.
I know.
I did miss you guys. I miss everybody who's like a hardcore gamer, because it's like you honestly the whole time there's so much nerdy shit that you're just like, you just want other people to see it. Like that's why I was sending you guys pictures. Like even if you didn't care, I was just like, you should just fucking see this shit. But anyhow, yeah, I missed the podcast. I tried to call in, and then sorry to any of the viewers that were like, listeners that were like, this is the worst podcast ever. This guy doesn't have a microphone and it's just a bunch of noise. And
this guy's a jackass.
Yeah,
I got a lot of complaints from that one.
Was that from the podcast or just anywhere, Mike?
Just from natural New Yorkers. They're like, yo, your podcast, bro. I was like, how do you even know? They're like, I'm just mad. I can tell.
Oh man. So this week is going to be a little bit different. There's not really much news that I thought was worthy of talking about, at least. So we're just going to talk about, what we've been playing. And of course, Unoclay went to Japan, so a lot of the podcast is going to be about that as well. So I guess we'll start off with myself. I was hastily trying to finish Mario plus Rabbids before the podcast. And it wasn't just before the podcast. I was playing like a couple hours earlier because I was somewhere in... I forget, it's some part during the last world. Unfortunately, I didn't get to beat it. I'm like one level away from it or something stupid. But I've played pretty much the entirety of the game. I've finished, obviously, one out of the 4 worlds, I finished 3, almost finished the final one, obviously. I did basically every challenge. There's like 10 per world. I've most of the collectibles, or at least, very least, the weapons and stuff. And I've played like 60 plus hours of it now. So a lot of time has gone into it. Yeah. So when you go back after beating a world, how it works to find challenges is it's not like, oh, you beat a world and then the challenges are unlocked. You have to go back into the world, and then it's not really hard to find them. You just kind of walk through it for the most part. But the dumb thing is that you can't just be like, oh, I see the toad guy, I'll just walk by and then it counts. You actually have to start playing it and then either lose or win, which is dumb. You can't just like start it or quit or anything else. So that kind of eats up time. You unlock like a new ability to open things in the world after. So there's also, finding more collectibles and weapons and experience points and things like that. So that takes up time. And 1 or 2 of the worlds has like a bunch of mazes in it, and it's annoying. So that also takes up a bunch of time. So I wouldn't say half of the game is exploring, but I mean, a decent chunk of it is going to be walking around. Also, I'm pretty indecisive when it comes to making choices. So, strategy games, I try to put as much strategy in as possible, but I think I was going at a decent pace. But go on.
What would you now that you're like basically done with the game? I love scores. I know some like listeners and game fans think scores are stupid, and I agree that it's better to read a review for the depth to like really get an idea, not just look at a number. But like if you had to put a number on it, like where are you at with this game?
I'd say like an 8.5 or maybe a 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really like it. A couple of things kind of bug me. Like I said about going back in the world or whatever. But I mean, you can do that at your own pace, and only if you want to, of course. It is best to play those challenges once you finish the world, because you're just gonna unlock more stronger weapons and be able to use more experience points to unlock more abilities, so it obviously become easier the further you go. So I'd suggest beating them as you unlock a world. But the interesting thing is you can just reset your skill tree. So even if you did want to go back and play it as if you had, next to nothing, you could, and then just, reset your skill tree and just use or not use your experiences you want, which is kind of cool.
This is maybe a late to the game kind of question. I think I already asked something like this a few weeks ago, but as someone who, my first impressions when I watched the videos of it when it was unveiled wasn't struck by how interesting this game is or not. It didn't strike me as something that's for me really. Mm-hmm. But if you had to compare it to another game or series or anything like that, could you? And could you give some examples, at all, of other games it's sort of like?
So the big thing that people are saying is XCOM, which is when you look at gameplays of XCOM, it's basically that. There isn't really anything as similar. You have 3 teammates. You have you can move and also dash into enemies for attacks and whatnot. You have an attack, and you have a special power, and you have two attacks and then 2 special powers, and then each character has their own traits and whatnot, and different variances and things like that. So they all have different abilities and whatnot, and I don't know how to explain it more, but you're just trying to most of the challenges are just killing all of the enemies on the field, as they call defeat them all. Some of them are escort missions, so don't let Toad or Toadette or another character die. Some of them are get to or reach this specific area, so you want to use characters that can move farther much more quickly, or I think some of them are timed ones. I don't know, I think those are the challenges that you have to beat in a certain amount of rounds, but those are the pretty much 3 of those different types of matches.
So when you say, I've never played XCOM, I know the reference because I recognize the map in my head. I can see it, the pictures. But is XCOM more or less like Fire Emblem?
Yeah, pretty much, I guess. Except there's cover, so you can hide behind cover. So can the enemies. So you can have, a 0% chance of hitting them, a 50% chance, or a 100% chance, based on how much cover there is, or your viewpoint, or things like that. And then the difference between XCOM and this is that you can actually jump on your opponents or on your teammates and actually move farther. So you might get one character to go the full distance they can move, and then get the other character to go there, jump on them, and then move even further away to attack, I don't know, a different enemy or whatnot.
Right. Sounds a little bit like the Mario and Luigi series, kind of like the way you can combo abilities or something. I don't know, but I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, that's cool. Right on. Did anyone else play it? Eli, did you play this game?
Well, not as much as Matt did. I played, I think, through the first 2 worlds and then had to move on. But I really liked it, like Matt did.
Crazy. And Mike, I'm assuming you didn't, because you haven't chimed in raving yet or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't touched it at all. I don't have it. I mean, I want to get it, but I'm I can hold off.
Right.
Fair enough. I'll try to wrap this up, and then I'll give you a chance for one more question. But my only main concern is that I feel pretty much once you get halfway through the game, you have all of the characters that you need that are going to be used for most of the part. So I felt that Rabid Mario and Rabid Luigi are basically the best team for most of the missions, just because of their abilities. mostly because they're
That's-
dash
Yeah.
attacks. So dashes you can hit like multiple enemies versus one, whereas most weapons you can only hit one enemy with. So that's where they're most useful. And then Rabbid Luigi you start off with, and Rabbid Mario you get like halfway through World 2. So it's like, okay, I've basically have the best team from the beginning, and then I get other characters, and it's like, well, these aren't as good. Luigi's the only one who can is a sniper, so he can fire off from distances, so he's pretty good too. But I felt it was just like a little not as balanced there for the characters. They all have their own unique abilities, but they seem the most useful and not so much the others. And then the only weird thing is that so in most of the worlds you get 2 characters per world, so one at the halfway point and one at the end or something like that. And then with World 3, it was like halfway through I got Rabbid Yoshi, and I'm like, okay, by the end I'll get Yoshi. And it's like, nope. And then I'm like halfway through the final world, it's like, now you're getting Yoshi. I'm like, wait a second, this is kind of useless. I only have I only have 5 more missions of the game basically to use them. It's like that seems weird, a weird choice, because you've basically said like, oh, this character isn't really important anymore. I mean, I guess he is if you didn't beat any of the challenges, but I don't know, just a weird choice.
Huh. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a game I'm like likely to get around to. I have to be honest. I am intrigued that they did this crossover. I want to support stuff like that, but given the volume of stuff that's headed for us on Switch and already in my backlog, that it's like, it's definitely the kind of game like I'd have to be pretty dry, like for me to like get like maybe if I saw it on sale, like in a year or two, like a real good sale, like 20 or less for me. Because those kind of games, it's just like, I don't know, like I don't want to be a hater. It's just not really for me. It's not.
We all have to manage our time somehow.
Yeah, I like me. You guys know me really well by now. It's like I like twitchy stuff, like with a lot more action and like arcade experiences, if possible. And it sounds like it's a little bit more like. I mean, I really the thing I'm getting. There's this. Am I wrong to think that when I imagine stuff like Paper Mario mechanics, is there some of that in it, or is it all like strategy?
Yeah.
Is it all strategy? Like it's not really any mechanics where you're like jumping on each other's heads or anything like that.
No.
Okay. All right.
I will say that like watching strategy games isn't as interesting as like actually playing it, because like at least with an action game you can get, I don't know, it's how some of the combos work and whatnot, and it'd be fun. But a strategy, it's like most of the game is how you would plan out your own moves, like methodically. Right. So I don't know, just I don't see them putting out a demo, but I mean, if you found out you could play it somewhere else or try it or whatever, then I'd suggest, but probably not. But whatever.
I have friends who I think would like this, so I might end up recommending it to other people. That is like, it doesn't look like maybe something you want to play if you're not into the rabbits or whatever, but like, I do have friends that like games like that, so that's cool.
And I know the people find the rabbits annoying. They weren't really like that in your face in this game. Like the rabbit characters you have in your team, they don't really do much other than cutscenes now and again, and it's the general slapstick kind of humor. Like during the victory screen, they do their own little dances or whatnot, but it's nothing like. I mean, I don't mind the rabbits characters. I think they're kind of fine, but I didn't really find anything that people would find obnoxious, because most of the stuff you have to go out of your way to see any of the rabbits do anything, and if you don't bother doing that, then like you won't really notice much. But I've talked long enough. I've chatted everyone's ear off. Eli, why don't we talk about what you've been playing?
Damn chatty Canadians.
Well, I actually haven't really been playing any games other than the new Mario and Luigi, which I'm reviewing, but I can't really talk about anything in that game yet. So,
but it's like 13 years old.
Yeah, I can't talk about this game.
Nope, it's completely different.
No way.
I actually never played. I actually never played the original, so I can't tell. I don't know if it's completely different or not. But completely different.
What's the release date for it? October 6th or 3rd or something like that?
It's
It's like next
I
week.
don't. It's October 5th, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah, definitely next week. Though.
Yeah, but sorry, I wish I could contribute more.
This is riveting.
White.
Reviewer's life. Can you say what color the cartridge is?
I think that's classified.
Probably white. I don't remember. Regular gray. I don't.
Did you say white? I'm like, wow, that is news actually.
I'm colorblind, so like,
That's right. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to bust on you for that. I'm sorry.
I'm being bullied on the pod. I'm too lazy to wheel across the room and see my 3DS cart, but I can assure you that all that information and more will be available next weekend when I post the review.
All right. One question: is Mario in it, or Luigi?
Yeah, no. I was gonna ask, is Luigi in it?
I don't know if I can grant those spoilers. I'll have to look over the embargo sheet.
Wow, this is serious. Oh man! All right.
Those damn spoilers,
well,
man.
Apparently, the Nintendo ninjas got after him because he's left the podcast.
Yeah,
The Skype
he
chat.
got kicked out of the podcast.
Yo, they got him, man. They knew it.
Dude, that's some serious IP control right there, dude.
Jeez.
They're just all over this
He didn't
now.
even say if Mario and Luigi was in it. And they already
No,
took
he
him
was
out.
about to. He was like, I think, and then
Yeah. I think they're like, cut him off. He's going to reveal everything.
they're like,
This-
oh, nice podcast. Let me hear if you're gonna spoil about Mario and Luigi, man.
The scariest thing is we're not even like broadcasting live. We're only talking to each other, and they got him. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think about
Jeez.
that. I thought it was live.
Skype is a part of Nintendo.
Oh
Just listening
man,
to everything.
that's crazy. Yeah, right out of the podcast. Oh man. Oh, okay. He powered down. He said he's coming back in a second. But
All right.
Yeah,
But
the
moving
Nintendo
along.
employee wants to think.
nice.
Mike,
He's
what
like,
have
yeah,
you...
yeah,
Oh,
powered down. Powered down.
Code. Oh, he's back already. He's back. Eli, we thought Nintendo like somehow got into our podcast while it's running live and like shut us down because you were breaking embargo.
Thrilled to be here, everyone.
Nintendo only held a knife to his neck, that's all. They
Dude,
didn't
we
have
really
to do anything yet.
we thought they got
They cut the cord to his laptop and they're like, your neck is next if you don't shut up.
man. Holy cow. Well, if you can't talk about that game, can you talk about anything else?
I haven't really been playing anything else. Sorry to be disappointing.
Oh man.
You'll have
tried-
to move
I'm
on.
disappointed, Eli.
I traveled
That's the thing.
10,000 miles.
That's what they told you to say.
You made Unoclay
like,
come
yeah,
all the
I've been
way
playing
back
this
from
Ultimate
Japan
Mario
for nothing.
Just to hear that you haven't been playing anything. This is great. I'm real welcome home there, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, we're like, let's not do anything. Just make Clay talk the whole podcast about Japan.
We
Hey.
will in a
I'm
minute.
right here.
But before then, Mike, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been playing some Destiny 2, some Oversplotch, and
What is Douche City 2?
Douche
yeah,
City.
Destiny 2.
Maybe it is Douche City. I haven't played it. Mike can tell us
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty. A lot of douches in it, but yeah, no. I also got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Could
Oh,
possibly be the worst story I've ever read in my life, with the worst voice acting and worst graphics. But it's a pretty, if you like FGC games and you like Marvel, you'll like it. Not anything special. In my opinion, probably the worst Versus series game. But no, you know what? No. Second worst, behind 3. 3 was really bad. But yeah, that's about it. I can't say anything about it. It's a fighting game. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like, hey, all right, you have these characters, and most of them have the same hypers, kind of combos. You're just gonna do it to each other. But nah, I mean, the game got a bad rap for the way it looks, and it deserves that because it looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Like it literally looks that bad. Okay, as bad as you think it was, or everybody complained, it was that bad.
Well, did you see the collector's edition, whatever? They showed the Infinity Stones or whatever,
immediately
the gems, and they open it up and it's just a bunch of eggs. It's like children's Easter eggs.
It's funny.
Sweet sauce. So what about Destiny 2? I'm curious. Like, it's like
I
you
was like
know
fake
what's
forced
going
to
on.
get it. It's pretty fun. I mean, if you have friends to play it with, otherwise it's terrible. But I have friends because I was forced to get it because like all my brother and my 2 friends were like, "You'll get this, blah blah blah. It's gonna be mad fun, this that and this." And I was like, "Alright, bro." And then it turned out to actually be like that because I only play when I'm with them though, so I rarely get, you know what I mean? Like I'm rarely on. But like when we're all up, like it's pretty fun. Like so if you had like a whole crew, like kind of like Splatoon. Like Splatoon's probably terrible by yourself. But like if you play with all your boys, it's gonna be like, oh shit, this game's tight as hell, you know. So that's the way I kind of feel about it.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. I like it though.
Did you play the first one?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I played like the beta of the first one. So
Okay.
like. Yeah. I mean, I was at like Phil's house, and I was like, I mean, I don't really know, and like I was like, it was kind of cool from what I played, but apparently everyone on the planet hates it. So I don't know anything about number 1, and I was so lost in number 2 because just like, here you go, play the game, and I'm like, what's this? Play the game, and I'm like, all right, but no one told me what this is, nor what the story is. And they're like, yo, who cares, man? Just get this cool gear. I was like, all right, this gear is pretty cool, but what do I do with it? And they're like, who cares, man? Get more gear. I was like, all right. This game has no sense of direction at all. But you know what? That's okay. It's okay. I don't care. And I was like, I secretly did, but you know.
As far as the story goes, from what I've heard, don't bother because the first game apparently had like no story and it was really confusing and it was only fixed with like the DLC. So
that King something.
yeah, the
like,
Taken King or
all I
whatever.
know
So
about this story was like I don't know,
some like typical
took
story.
over the
like you're the savior,
and you're the hero,
chosen
basically.
one.
It's kind of like that. Just think of
got-
like one of those like generic stories where everybody loses their power but you.
Yeah, it's like the moon is crashing or I forget.
Yeah,
I remember
you-
seeing part of it. I only played the beta, but somehow I remember. I think I saw someone like review it and talk about the ending or whatever it was. Some weird story.
I wanted to like make like a little like kind of like rant about it. Like it's a terrible game like to just pick up and play, but like if like I was like, yo Matt, you should get Destiny 2. I got it, and we could just do crap together. Like then yeah, they definitely do that. Otherwise, like if you're just like, man, I want a new game to play, don't buy this game. It's like it's not gonna fix anything. And then I'm just like, shit, dude, I want to catch up on my mobile game, my handheld games. Like I want to finish Dragon Quest Builders. I want to get ready for both Mario games coming out. AKA I don't want to die from what Eli said, but I played Superstar Saga before, and it's pretty good game. So. But I don't know if Nintendo doesn't know if they remade that. They're remaking it, so I don't want to get Eli'd. So yeah, I want that, and I want Odyssey. So
I keep forgetting Odyssey is at the end of October.
That's what Eli's looking forward to. Bubsy.
Good stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bubsy 4, baby.
Speaking of Bubsy, unfortunately, that reminds me. Bubsy is getting a new game for his anniversary, and Mega Man is still dead for his 30th.
Yo,
They like teased. I didn't expect much because Capcom, and I've stopped expecting anything about them with Mega Man. But yeah, it's like the 30th anniversary, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have some live stream or whatever." I wasn't able to see it, but I asked after, and they basically just made like a onesie and a plush, and they're like, "Look, they dragged out his lifeless corpse." It's like, of course they would. Moving on.
On the Mega Man note, it's worth noting. I don't really want to talk about it a lot, but have you guys played any of those Azure Striker Gunvolt games?
I played the demo of the first one and I really liked it, but I haven't gotten to it. I'll get it on Switch at some point.
I beat the first one. But,
yeah, it's like talk about Mega Man reboot that's not Mega Man. It's not exactly Mega Man, but it's got a little bit of the flavor of it, and I really am enjoying the first one on my 3DS.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool.
I mean, I think it's a little.
The only thing I didn't like about it was like the equipment thing, obviously. So it's I was just like, which equipment's best? Which one should I do? And then it was just like, hey, you know what? I can get over this.
Yeah.
So I didn't play the second one though. I hear the second one's really cool. And you get a different mode.
They're charging $40 for it on Switch, like for the collection right now, and I'm like, that's a little high because I bought like first one on 3DS for like I think it was like $15 or something.
The one on Switch, you get both of the games.
Right, but I mean, still like $40 for
$20 each.
You know what I mean? It feels a little high, but to get the package, I guess it's worth it. I mean, I'm just saying, if you need a Mega Man fix, you could probably get the first one on 3DS at the very least if you weren't sure and try it out. But I mean, if you want the package on Switch,
I would just rather not play it on 3DS.
Yeah, you guys,
and be like, get rid of everything else. I'm done. Just put it all on Switch. Throw the things in the trash.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, I want to finish my 3DS game too, but it's like, damn it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, screw it. Just start porting 3DS games to the freaking to the Switch. Like, we know they can do it.
I must be the only person left of us that's playing my 3DS. I play it a lot still. Like, I'm still in that mode of like, the Switch is too big to carry around with me. It stays home most of the time or whatever. I mean, it went to Japan with me, but it mostly sat in my room. Like, even there, I was like, I'm not taking us on the train. Like, these people over here will kill you for this thing.
Yeah, there's like none over there. Like,
yeah.
They're like, oh man, how lucky. And then like, you're just like, you know what? This is not it. This is fake.
Yeah.
You
don't want to make your foreign hosts like too jealous of you when you're walking around with a machine made in their country that you have and you're not even from there. So yeah, keep that.
You're just like sleeping at night and they punch a hole through the paper thin walls and just steal it out of your bag.
You know what's funny actually though? I got so many Street Pass tags that I think I got like a third of Japan like on Street Passes, like for real. I like not in terms of population, in terms of geography. Like I got like a third of the like regions of Japan, like because people definitely still carry it around over there. I was getting tagged every time I left the apartment. So,
but you know, everybody's got to do that Monster Hunter, man.
Yeah.
All about that MH.
Yeah. How many Street Pass tags are you at, Mike? I'm trying to catch you. I know you had.
I have a lot. You got to think about how I went. Not only do I live in New York City, but when New York Comic Con happens, dude. Oh man. I you know how many times I got the 100 in one day?
Yeah, I got that. I got 100 in one day.
Yeah, like I get that like a lot, dude.
Oh man. Oh.
It used to be more prominent, like I'd say like from 12 to 15, like 2012 to 2015. But like now, like I can get a few, like if I just go to like any college campus.
Yeah.
But Comic Con, man, you just no, it's nonstop. Like, I'm like I can't handle this. This is too much.
Yeah.
I don't even bother getting any more Street Passes. Like I haven't even played the new one games, even though I really want to. So.
I crossed like 2,000 while I was in Japan. I think I'm at like 2,100 or something like that now for all-time tags. But I only ever had the 100 in one day one time, I think. So.
Oh my gosh! You Street Pass 2,000 people. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, like I literally probably got 300 Street Passes easily while I was over there. So I mean, it was like, you know, I thought they changed Street Pass so you could like get unlimited in your.
Yeah, I thought so too. I remember reading that, but
I think they like doubled it.
Yeah, it was 1,000, I think.
Yeah,
or no.
No,
I mean like at one time.
Waiting your gate after the 10.
Oh yeah.
So
so now you can have. I think you can have 10 and 10 now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, maybe up to 100 actually. I don't remember.
You definitely can't get 100 because like I would have, and like maybe I know what you guys are saying. You're saying maybe you got to have 10 live and have 10 in your queue.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah,
where you could like
maybe not that.
It's supposed to be like 100 or something, and it's just like I'm like okay, and then it'd be like here's 10.
I've gotten 100 in a day, and I think Mike just said he did too. I was at some like a Zelda concert or whatever. But it was like you can, if you have 10 at your gate and you let them in, then you can have 10 more at your gate without having to kick the first 10 out.
That sounds right.
It was
right.
along the lines of that.
Yeah, that sounds right. Because like otherwise I would have so many more. Because it was like back to the days when you had to open it up and clear it out. Like I was doing it. Like I was like opening it up. Like, oh man, I got like.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. It's like leave, come back. Leave it. I'm like, I don't care. The only thing I would do is the puzzle swap, and then I was like, I'm doing crap.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I've got all the puzzles like pieces now, so I'm back to full. I was like, for a while, I was hunting like one last piece, like the very last corner of the very last puzzle for some game I've never even heard of. That I was like, okay, like I need that, and I didn't get it till I went to Japan. For some reason, nobody in America seemed to have that one piece for like so long. So
Do you remember which puzzle or no? 'Cause,
The
like,
very last
I
one.
remember I would just tell Matt, I'm like, yeah, I finished that puzzle. He's like, it just launched. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it.
I don't know. It's like the very last one, and it's some obscure game. I don't even barely remember what it is. I definitely don't remember what it is. It's not something we've even talked about on here, I don't think. So anyhow, yeah. So Street Pass, yeah. So 3DS is still big over there. I can tell you that. It's people still be carrying it. So
Neat. So I guess we'll move on to now the segment where we talk about Unoclay going to Japan. You lucky bum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dudes. Yeah, you guys should go, man. I'm dead serious. It's like save up some money, and any gamer listening to this should get over there because, I mean, Japan is awesome. I don't want to sound like some cretin. Like, Japan is awesome for so many reasons, and gaming's only like one part of it. Like, I won't say it wasn't like a reason I kind of wanted to go there, but I've always just kind of wanted to visit it because it sounds like a really interesting country, and I can, in a nutshell, it's like it's really safe. So if you're afraid or not super experienced to travel, it's like perfect because there's so low crime there. It's nuts. There's like all kinds of stories about how you could like lay your wallet on the ground and nobody would take it. And I'm honestly inclined to believe that, like having been there. Everyone, oh yeah, Eli's got to bust out. So just when the podcast is getting super
but I'll listen. Clay, I'm going to listen to your story. It's all you. It's very interesting. I'm sure you've been sending us pictures.
I'm busting you, man. It's all good.
But I'll see you guys later. Follow me on Twitter @PauloSalon. See you later.
Peace. Right. See you.
Peace, brother. Yeah, so it's like what was I saying? No, it's really safe. It's really good. Like a lot of people when they travel, they're afraid that people aren't going to understand them, like because of the English barrier, and that we're all a bunch of idiots who don't know any other language but English. But thanks to the miracle.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. What about that? Like, how's it for in English?
Well, they have a lot of signs in English, don't they? In a bunch of areas.
They do, but I mean, like signs only get you so far. Like, I mean, you know, trains are most of the time you can. That's like a big place where it's going to hit you. Like most of the time, there's signs that are like in English, or if it's like an electric sign, it'll like cycle, and every couple like maybe every 30 seconds it'll show it in English. So as long as you're patient, but the miracle of modern technology has made it a lot easier. I can't even imagine doing it like 20 years ago because you would have had to have paper maps of everything printed out in advance, which I still do it for backup. But Japan also has this thing. You can rent a hotspot at the airport as soon as you get there. It's like a little beacon that you put in your pocket. And that thing is a miracle. And so I have a Kindle. My wife has a smartphone. And with that hotspot for the two of us, it was like having live internet like everywhere you went. So you could just use Google, Google Translate like anywhere you went. You could use like maps anywhere you went, and it made it like for instance, here's an example. I'm in a game store.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to find Castlevania 3, but I don't know how to speak Japanese. I don't know how to write Japanese. And guess what? Everything's filed by Japanese, and this cartridge doesn't have any English words on it. Like, so I am SOL unless I can get someone to help me. And all these people are really nice, but like all I got is like a picture of Castlevania 3 label art, you know. So this is like ridiculous. I feel like a total idiot.
So you walk in there with a picture of Castlevania 3?
I would have said you should have walked in there with a picture of the text.
Well, I mean, like here's the thing. I go into this not knowing how it's going to be. Like, you know, you don't know how it's going to be. Like, so I printed out like literal Google images like of games I'm hunting because like, first of all, I like to kind of try and figure things out myself. Like, I don't want to walk in the store and just like be like, hey, where's this game? And then just be done. You know what I mean? It's like they have like libraries and libraries of games, like racks of, they don't have like hardly any United States stuff, first of all. Like, so if you're not a foreign collector, the game shopping will be a little lost on you. You'll still like looking around, and I could tell there were like tons of gamers like just in stores, like looking, just because they're like, holy crap, look at this. And a lot of them are really neat stores. They got like almost a museum aspect, like where they have like, you know, boxes and crates and cases full of like stuff you've never seen before, or just like, it's just interesting because you're a gamer and you're like, wow, look at that. Like there's the foreign version of fill in the blank game, you know, whatever. Like, you know, it's kind of crazy. And they'll have like consoles set up in the stores that you can play on the stuff and mess around or whatever and check out things, or whatever, just have some fun. But the problem is like I don't know any kanji, I don't know any Japanese alphabet. So it's like I just printed out pictures. So worst comes to worst, if I didn't have internet working and I didn't have anywhere to speak to someone, I could at least show them the games I want the most and be like, can you help me find Godzilla King Kong 2, or whatever, like some ridiculous game, But it turns out like, having Google Translate is it, because you can even like I don't know if you guys know this, you can point the camera at a foreign language and have Google translate it for you visually. Like you can.
Weird.
Yeah, I didn't know this either. Like neither did my wife, and she has a smartphone. But if you open up Google Translate, there's a feature that has a camera icon now, and you tell it what language you want, and you point it and take a picture. And it doesn't work all the time, especially if it's handwriting. Like it'll get broken, kind of.
Yeah.
But if it's like a printed sign, it'll get close. Like it won't be perfect, but it'll be like it's a train sign that says this train goes to Kyoto. The translate will come through like train here, you ride Kyoto, and you're like, okay, I get it. Like
Yeah, like it's close enough.
Yeah, it's like playing old Nintendo games. Like the language is hilarious. You're like, a winner is you, and you're like, I think I won, but okay, and there's a lot of that. So it's a safe country. I have to say, I think the Japanese people might be that I've traveled pretty extensively in the world, and I think they might be the nicest people I've met anywhere. Like that is completely sincere. Like that you might have heard stories about how like Japanese people will go out of their way to help you. And I can't say enough how true it is. Like if you're looking for something, they'll drop what they're doing and help you. And it's crazy. And you feel guilty because you're like, I'm just an idiot. Like I was looking for this restaurant the one day. I'm walking down the street gawking at the fact there's a 5-block long for some anime convention for some anime I've never heard of.
You mean any of them?
You barely even know what a Pokemon is.
Yeah.
You even know what an Animu and a Mango is.
All right. Let me describe it.
Mangas and anime, and you're like, yo, what's these?
Let me
mangoes?
describe it. It looked like it was a bunch of schoolgirls.
That's does not.
I know. Yeah.
This is gonna be a classic from a guy who never watched any anime description. It's gonna be a bunch
no, it's like it's whatever it is. It's really all right. It's really big right now in Japan. I have no idea. I've never seen it in America, but you're right. I never watch this stuff. But it's like a bunch of girls. They're not overly sexualized, but they're kind of like schoolgirly looking. They might be in a band, from what I could tell from the pictures.
Oh, is it Kon? Kon?
I wouldn't even know. It was in Japanese script. Like I wouldn't even know. It was like a bunch of girls. It was like a big.
Oh wait, it could be Love Live. I don't know. If it's 4, is it 4 or is it like 10?
It's like 10.
Yeah, okay, I know which one it is.
They look like white girls, like Japanese white girls.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, I know.
Okay, so if it's huge, then it's this one, because there was like some kind of convention in Tokyo when I was there where, I'm not even joking, I took film of it. I don't have the video edited yet to put up on my channel. But I was walking and I couldn't believe it because I crossed like think Manhattan. I crossed multiple Manhattan blocks and the line is still going, and they have line like minders like guarding the line like blocks away, that you're like, what is going on here? And I'm like following this line like to see what it is. And I'm like, I get there and it's like a big open convention hall type thing. And they had like VR where you could go in. And I'm pretty sure there was some kind of porn aspect to it, because I think I could tell it was like you had to be a certain age. I'm just kind of putting this.
No, yeah, I've also heard of this, but there was like a thing going on in Japan while you were there, and they had like a lot of VR and them kind. Oh, wasn't TGS on while you were there?
No. Like I missed that by like a couple days, but like but yeah, there was a VR component like where you had to go inside a thing, and the guys at the front, they were having a good laugh at me because I went right to the front because I wasn't waiting in line. I just like did my American thing and just like cut right through. like it wasn't like I was cutting line. I was just trying to get to the front to ask anybody. But like I'm trying to ask them, and I didn't even bother to get out the tablet. I didn't feel like typing it out. I was like just trying to say it to them. I'm like, what are you waiting for? And they just pointed at the thing. And then I was like, how long have you been waiting to get to the front? And I could tell they didn't understand me at first. And I was pointing out like my watch, like making that gesture, like how long? And I think they told me they've been waiting like 4 hours to get to the front of this VR line to try a VR thing, probably for like 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it was total.
Hey, that's how
So it's like
things
E3.
work, dude.
Yeah. Only it was like 90 degrees and humid, and they're all waiting outside. So I can't imagine like how bad they wanted to see this thing.
So it's like E3 outside.
Yeah. Yeah. But my point of all that was like while I was walking past that line, I was trying to find this restaurant because I needed to hurry up because my wife and I were going to a sumo tournament, and I needed to eat because I was starving, and I didn't know they were going to have ice cream and waffles at the sumo tournament. That's another story. And I'm like looking for this restaurant, and I just asked this guy that's minding the line because he doesn't look like he's doing anything. I'm like, can you help me find this? I show him the map. Like I'm like, I cannot find it. I'm going around in circles, and the map keeps like telling me to go the other way. It was just never found the restaurant in the end. I'm not sure if it wasn't there.
What was your favorite food? And did you try any new food, dude?
Yeah, I tried a lot of new food. I mean, I'm vegetarian, so it's a little tough. Japan is like heavily meat. I thought they might be a little more. They have a lot of Buddhist in their background, so I thought they might be a little more veggie. But
dude, I think you need China for that.
Do you eat fish or no?
No, I don't. My wife does. I don't.
Okay.
I never did though. It's not like I quit it. I just thought it was gross when I was a kid. So,
Fair enough.
I mean, if I'm in a pinch, like I ate ramen that probably had like fish broth in it a couple times, like because it tastes a little funny, but like I'm not going to cry about it. Like fish are smarter than people think, but they're kind of dumb. So I'll eat a couple of those here and there. So it's like a cheater thing. But anyhow, yeah, I ate some crazy good ramen. There's this thing that's like a Japanese pancake. I don't know what the right word for it is. So
before you continue with food,
Yeah.
I don't recall if you finished your story about the people helping you find.
Oh yeah. I'll tell. Everybody asked about the food, so I'll talk about that in a second, Mike. Yeah, literally everybody asked about
Stop
the food.
derailing, Mike. Jeez.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm pretty interested in the food.
No,
They
everybody-
probably
We'll
have
get
way
to it.
better sushi,
It's the
ramen
number one.
probably
It's the
super
number
good.
one thing. It's the number one thing people ask me about for sure. Like definitely. Like
You gotta tell me about the arcades too, dude.
Oh, yeah.
we got a whole list. Don't worry, we'll go through it.
yeah, right.
I got that. Like, all right. So anyway, the point is just one story out of like 100 I could tell you is that guy in that line. I point to this, and he starts following me with my map. I give him the tablet because you can trust anyone. I'm not joking.
Mhm.
I am not 100%. I would hand my wallet over to anybody there. I wouldn't even sweat it. Like I'm not even exaggerating. Everyone is so freaking nice. It's insane. So anyway, I give him my tablet. I'm like, because he wants to see it. I'm like, help me find this. And we start walking, and it's like 90 degrees, and he's supposed to be doing his job. And after like a minute, I'm like, dude, forget it. Like, I'm just trying to say, like, forget it. Don't worry about it, man. I didn't mean to bug you. I just thought maybe you're from here and you'd know where this place is. Cause it's like, just imagine Manhattan, only fully Japanese Manhattan. And it's like, I just can't find this.
Japan.
I don't know if that's racist, but Japan. But Grandpa. No, but and we just start walking, and I say to him, like, all right, dude, forget it, man, don't worry about it. And I could tell he was like into it now, kind of like a game. And I'm like, no, for real, man. And he's like, no, don't worry about it, like sort of like trying to say that back to me. And like,
Yeah, he said that exactly. He was like,
I'm not gonna try
He's like, oh crap, he knows I know English.
No, he said something, but
game's over.
broken English. He was just said something back to me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna get in trouble. I'm pointing. I'm like, do your job. Go back to your job, man. And he's just like, nah, dude, it's cool. And it's hard to explain, but that's representative. Like once in a while, you get a rude person that's like, you can tell maybe they're sick of tourists,
Mhm.
and it's usually older folks, like really old. Like I'm talking like 60s.
No,
70s.
they just probably hate Americans because
They could.
Too.
They could. I mean, I said that to my wife, dude. Like, no joke. All jokes aside, we did bomb their country. Like,
Yeah.
and if you're old enough to remember that, you might freaking hate me. Like, and I get it. And that's mad respect to that. I get it. You know. I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand that too. It's like,
You know what I
I mean, I can't sympathize. Obviously, I mean, you know what? I can. It's like I lived in New York for 9/11, but it's like that wasn't me. So it's like, you know.
No, I get you. Like, I mean, it's like you just got to remember that kind of thing in your back of your head because it's really rare. But I said it to my wife. I said, like, look at that guy over there. He's as old as my grandpa. think about this. He remembers when America was his like deadly enemy, and he still seems like he's nice. Like, like he's over it, like thank God my grandpa's the same way. He fought in World War II, and he's just like, when I told him I was going to Japan, I wondered how to react, and he was just more than excited to hear about how it is. He's like, "Oh, I flew over that place like when I was in the army. Like, what's it like now?" It's
You're like, Grandpa, it's not the same circumstances.
Yeah. He's like,
He'd
Oh,
be
yeah, I
like,
flew
"Yo,
over there
going
too. I was
to
just
the Nintendos, man, and the arcades." He's like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, I didn't.
He's like,
Yeah.
"Take this."
I didn't get into all that with him. I think he played Pac-Man back in the day. I think he'd get it, but
Yeah, he knew. He's like, "Oh, you want to visit Pac-Man?"
I went to Pac-Land. But they're really. I mean, I can't say highly enough about the Japanese people. Like, it makes it fun in a way because you don't feel like out of place. Like, you're definitely a minority as a white Westerner. And if you are anything other than a white Westerner, you are really out of place. Like, you are like, I think
exotic.
Dude, you are like, I can't even imagine. I'm telling you, I was there 2.5 weeks. I think I saw 3 or 4 or 5 at most people that weren't white skinned if they weren't Japanese. Like, so I'm saying like to be blunt, I saw maybe 5 black people the whole time I was there. It's crazy. I guarantee they get stared at because like I got stared at and I'm just regular, weird looking white dude, it's like whatever. But, that most people stare at you in a good way, if anything. And that's not even that common. Like, I mean, maybe in China, I've heard it's a little different, but like in Japan, they get enough tourists that you're not like a freak of nature to them. Like,
yeah, you're not a surprise.
Yeah, and I mean,
wait, Clay, how tall are you again?
I'm like 6'3", so I'm fairly tall.
Were you huge to them?
I mean, let's put it this way. In America, I'm, how it is when you're tall. I don't know how tall you guys are, but like you're not.
I'm only 6, so.
Okay. I mean, you're pretty tall, so a lot of times you're a taller guy in the room. Like,
all my friends are taller than me, so I always feel like the short guy. So I thought I was like the shortest 6 foot.
Oh, I mean, 6 is six.
Like all my friends, even my younger brother is taller than me, like a Mario Luigi thing. Like he's like 6'2", 6'3".
That's funny. He's the scaredy cat too, right? He's like,
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, he doesn't like roller coasters, man. Like me, but.
No, I mean, like, so you're a good height. I mean, like you'd be taller than most Japanese people for sure. It's hard to evaluate that question.
I was wondering if you were like some giant over there.
No, I mean, no, not like gargantuanly. I didn't feel like that different than America, but I'm taller than most people in America too. So it's like,
yeah, of course. I think what's our average height, like 5'8" or something like that here?
Yeah, something like that. So it's hard to say. I mean, people, like, just to summarize it and, let it go. Like, it's like people didn't stare at me overtly ever, except when we went out of like major cities. There was one day that we went to the most incredible thing in this little tiny town that I'm not even gonna have time to talk about. We went to this crazy festival outside of Osaka, and there were like no people but Japanese people at this thing. And it was one of the coolest things we did while we were there. And it was really funny because I got this like really warm feeling from people, because a couple times people came right up to me and asked me like, "Did you come here from somewhere else to see our festival?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kind of. Like, I mean, we read about it and we were going to be near here, so we came, and we're super glad we did." And they're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, if you say Philadelphia, that's too long a word for people to understand. So it's like, I'm not even being ironic. Like, it's too weird of a word. Just like if a Japanese person says some crazy word to you, you don't understand it. You're like, like, I don't know what you just said, at all. But if you say USA or America, they, of course, right away, they get really like interested usually. Funny thing, that you guys will love this. The one time we were in the middle of nowhere, we're at this little store where we were buying some like pottery dishes for my mom, and like, for like a gift or whatever. And they asked me politely, like, kind of where I was from. And I'm like, "Oh, America." And then, for some reason that time I said, "Oh yeah, Philadelphia, America." And the husband came out from behind the counter, like he was back in the back working. He was like, I think he's the pottery guy, and like he comes out to like ask his wife something, and she looks at me and she's like, "Oh, he wants to know blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "What?" and like they're like she's like he wants to know he didn't speak any English, I don't think. She's like, he wants to know Rocky Balboa, and I'm like, are you saying Rocky Balboa? Like, yeah, Rocky, and I'm like,
the patron saint of Philadelphia.
I know, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm from where Rocky's from. I mean, number one, it's kind of a fictional movie, but yeah, I'm from there.
Yeah, man, you guys do have a statue of him.
We do have a statue of it.
Oh my gosh.
I'll never forget that. It was like I'm 7,000 miles away from home, and someone asked me if I'm where Rocky's from. So I was like, yeah.
It's a great movie, man. You know.
So cool.
But yeah, the food. Mike wanted to know about the food.
Yeah, so there's a bunch
Yeah.
of topics. We're probably gonna have to cut a bunch of them out. So I guess
just
I might have to cut you off at some point just to like move on to something else. But
go
I guess
arcade.
name like 3 or 4 dishes you liked.
Japanese pancakes. I can stop with one. That was the best thing. I mean, we're not great representation for this because my wife and I, like I said, are veggie. So there's the whole Kobe beef thing is like everywhere. So if you were like a meat eater and you're into that, you could have eaten your heart's content of Kobe beef, which is some kind of like rarefied fancy beef, I guess.
How do you spell it?
Kobe.
Oh, I thought that's what you said, and I just keep thinking of the basketball player.
Oh, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the way I remember Kobe.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, there's a food of it.
Yeah, I think it's like really famous because it comes from a place called Kobe in Japan.
Did you go to any beaches before we keep going to the food, or no?
Did I what?
Did you go to beaches over there? Are they like famous?
We did go one day, but there was a typhoon hitting Japan like almost the whole time we were there.
Oh, snap.
So luckily we had a decent hotel that day when we were near the beach. So it was like we just like chilled out. Like we watched freaking King Kong, the new reboot King Kong. Like they were showing it in the lounge area. So we were like watching King Kong in Japan translated with a bunch of Japanese people who were like really into it, and I was like laughing at it because it's kind of corny. I'm like, I was like, this is good, freaking ridiculous. Like, but I do that to a lot of movies, but yeah, we tried to go to the beach. I mean, there's beaches all around Japan. They also have a crazy jellyfish issue, like with some badass stinging jellyfish is what I hear. So they put like nets out in the water that are like with buoys. So you like, if you don't want to get like stung real bad, you stay inside the nets. But we didn't really get to do that because the typhoon kind of canceled the beach for us. But I'm not going to cry about it. You know, it's what it is. So.
But these Japanese pancakes look delicious.
Yeah,
they're them on Google.
My wife learned how to make them now. Like they're not pancakes. Like to explain, they're not pancakes typically like we eat in America. They make them out of all kinds of different things. They're like sometimes they make them out of noodles and eggs.
Oh,
what? It sounds so weird.
Yeah, they fry it up into like it's like shaped like a pancake, but that's the where the resemblance mostly ends. They look like pancakes when they're done, kind of, but.
Do you put syrup on it and stuff?
They put like mayonnaise and like butter and all kinds of. They love mayonnaise.
What? This is the weirdest thing ever, man.
Dude,
yeah.
mayonnaise.
Splatoon all over again.
Mayonnaise is so big in Japan, you would not believe it. I wouldn't believe it either. I thought someone was pulling my leg when I heard that. I probably eat as much mayonnaise in Japan as I do in America, and I'm a white boy who eats some mayonnaise, boys.
Of course you are. Of course.
Like they're awesome. Like they're like it's like the ones we had at this one restaurant. So we're waiting at this fancy restaurant. My wife's real into food. It's probably the fanciest restaurant we ate at when we were there. It's like a 4-star Michelin type reviewed restaurant, and we wait in line. We got there early because we heard it was like a real long line to get in usually. So luckily we did. We had like half an hour to get in, and they took our order while we're in line. So there's all a million little things about Japan that are like different that you'd never understand until you do it. I can't say enough how much you should, but like it's like, so that was weird. They come out to the line and they like take our order so that when we get in there, it'll be ready basically or whatever, like so that they can move it along because it's not a big place. And we get in there and we got the like best seats in the house kind of because we were only 2 of us and all the tables were like for 4 or 5 people or more. Like so they put us right by the grill like you do at a Japanese steakhouse. So we like get to watch them make our food, and they're like, we got like egg and cheese and cabbage and potato one and all these other ones. Like they're really big. The ones we got, they're like huge. Like one of them makes a guy my size full, and we ordered like 3 because we thought they'd be little, and they were like, I could see they thought we were being stupid when we ordered 3. They were like, 3 for real? Like in like limited English, they're like 3, honestly? And I'm like, yeah, 3, look at me. I'm huge and I'm starving. You know what I mean? Like I got to eat 3 at least, you know? So they're frying these things up and they're as big as your head. They're like putting tomatoes and cheese and cabbage and potatoes and all this stuff in there. And they have ones with meat in them. Like we're watching them do ones with bacon and like other stuff down the road from us or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're delicious. And then they top it with like, it's like syrup, but I'm not smart about food always. It was like kind of like syrup on the one, and the other one had like mayonnaise and like, I don't know, some kind of cream on it or something. And I don't know, like they were.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. What do you call it? All right, now go to the arcades, man.
Oh wait, hold on.
That good stuff.
Let me just look up this thing.
That's got an agenda here. We'll get to the arcades up front.
Before the food thing, I sent an image. It's called like a dango. Did you try this?
Let me check out the picture. Hang on. Like a dango. Oh, I saw these things. What are they? I saw them, but I didn't had one.
I'm googling it up. It says a type of rice dumpling. One is green tea. The white one is plain, and then the pink is food. Just food. Apparently, it's a bunch of like rice dumplings. Thought there was other stuff in it, but whatever.
To the listeners, they look like shish kebabs, but they're all different colors.
If you've played a Kirby game, you've seen it.
Yeah.
That's how I know a lot of recognized Japanese food from images. I'm like, hey, that's in a Kirby game.
Totally, dude. Like the what do you call that stuff? The little triangle. Rice. What's that little triangle of rice called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Mike, stop typing. I can hear you.
Sorry about that.
Onigiri. It's the rice ball. It's like the triangle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's onigiri. Yeah, like
or,
my wife.
If you watch Pokemon, it's a jelly-filled donut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I forgot they do double that.
Yeah. See, I'm ignorant because I should know that by now. My wife ate one like every day. It's like an onigiri, I think you call it, and it's like a triangle of like rice with like other stuff in it, and she likes it. I can't just eat straight up rice like that, like she does. But
it looks like reminds me of the Italian rice ball, just without it being like deep fried.
Yeah,
which is like half the goodness. Come on.
Jeez. Totally. Yeah, to me, it's like that sounds better because like this is like pretty much like almost like a sushi wrap, like where it's just like rice and like a wrap around it or something, and then maybe something inside it if you're lucky. But I don't know. Like you can get those at like mini marts, like the things you're looking at in the picture, the shish kebab type thing.
Yeah.
You can get like the onigiri and like mini marts. Like the mini marts are a story in themselves. You can get like they love like egg salad there. Like they just. Japan is a unique country, like, because it's like our country enough, but then it's like an alternate universe where everything's weird and different, and a lot of times, like, I don't want to say better, but a lot of times you feel that way.
Becoming a weeaboo.
No. It's like they're so. I don't know how to say it. I'm sure there's lots of things to hate about it, but when you're on vacation there, you're just crazy because it's like America 3.0 or something. You're just like, what the heck? Like the trains work good and everything's clean and the food is funny, but I mean, I'm sure our food is funny as hell to them, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't eat any of those. I ate a lot of ramen. That's not a cliche. Like that, that if you want to eat ramen, it's everywhere. It's pretty much like, I mean, but they eat a lot of stuff we eat, like cheeseburgers are everywhere. Like stuff like that. I mean, usually there'll be some weird differences when you get down to it, but like
the squid ink burger from McDonald's.
Yeah, weird stuff like that. Like, yeah, like I can't even say. There's so many different things like that, but the food. I think if you're a meat eater or even eat fish, you do a lot better than we did. Places close early, and I'm used to like being a late eater, and like Matt knows, like I'll be like playing video games and
he's like, okay, I'm having dinner. I'm like, it's midnight. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I thought I ate late.
Yeah, I'm a late eater. My wife and I got into trouble a couple times with that because things in Japan also don't seem to stick to a schedule. Like in America, like if you say you close at 10 in America, it might be
like an extra 5-10 minute leeway. The kitchen's not closed,
Yeah. Or at the most they might close like 10 minutes early. You know what I mean? Like 15. No.
What do they close on the dot?
No, you try to go to a place and the website said they're open and you get there and it's closed and there's no sign and it's dark, like it's been closed all day. And you're like, what the hell? Like what in the hangnail? And I mean, that's partly because you can't speak Japanese, so you can't call them to check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, I want to put a reservation. What?
Yeah.
Nani?
Yeah.
Close.
Like we just walked 25 minutes to get here and it's just closed. What in the heck? You know, like I don't know. I mean, but I don't want to go too long about that. Like, I mean, part of it is like our limited diet. So we were going to specific places. So it was like, it wasn't like we just eat anywhere. So it was like, you know, that was a challenge in some ways. But I mean, anybody else who has a little bit more wide variety of what they can eat is like going to love it because the food is off the hook. Like everywhere you go, you're just like, I've never seen this before. And it looks pretty good, you know, that kind of feeling. So, yeah. Matt, Mike is dying to hear about arcades. You want to talk
so
about
Yeah, man. I want to hear about that.
Apparently you played some arcades and said they're weird, and you also got your butt kicked. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, like yeah, thanks. Like no, I mean, so Sega's still.
To be fair, we all get our butts kicked, and we're still over here.
I'm like,
and we can.
I'm waiting to see. You know, did he play the Sonic game that has the treadmill on it? Like,
I didn't see that.
What? I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. Did you play? Oh, did you play Mario Kart VR? Did you do that?
I played Mario Kart the arcade game, but not a VR headset. If that's what you mean.
Damn.
Like, it was like the arcade. Like.
All right. Yeah, what was some like super unique cool game? Like, they have like a lot of old school or new school. Like, how does it look? Is it like super future-y in there?
Well, it's definitely not what I expected. Okay, because like I like retros, you know, 80s arcade.
Yeah. You like barcade.
Yeah, I love barcade. Like I love barcade. Okay, so I didn't see anything like that anywhere. They're not the main arcades you see in Japan are not retro themed, except the only one I found that even could come close was in Kyoto, and it was like all fighting games. So they had like if you've ever seen a Japanese arcade cabinet, they look like different than ours. They're like white and small, and they're like you sit at them rather than.
Oh yeah, I see. I mean, I've seen that on like movies and TV and me looking up stuff.
Yeah. So I found one that was like all fighting games. So they had some old classics. Like they had, and when I say old, I don't even mean old. I mean like medium old, like Street Fighter 3. What is it called? Alpha Strike 3 or what the heck ever. I don't even know. I don't play those games, but like, that would be like, or like, I think they had like Final Fight or something like, so that might be like the oldest thing they had. Cause it was mostly, I mean, the Japanese love their fighting games, guys. Like, that is not a joke. Like, that is half any arcade is fighting games. Like, mostly modern, usually. Like, so I can't.
Not a lot of gun games over there. I thought it'd be like
no, like none. Like
that's America.
Yeah, that's America, bro.
I really thought there would be like a lot of Time Crisis gun games.
No, not a one. I mean, okay, so like your average arcade, like Sega's still a thing there. Sega and Taito. I never know how to say it.
I think. Oh wait. Taito. Yeah, with the T. Taito.
Yeah, like they sponsor arcades everywhere you go. So like in the big cities, there's big arcades that are like 5 floors tall. They're like a skyscraper, and they have like Sega like in huge letters on the front. Like you can't believe it as like an American. You're like, Sega? Did you guys crash and burn and now you work for Mario? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no, like Sega arcades are like enormous. They're like, I'm not joking. They're like 5 or 6 floors tall. Like they're like in the middle of the city, and like you walk in, and they're almost all the same. They're almost like a brand. Like, so the first floor is all like UFO catcher games, or claw games, like where you use the claw to grab a toy or whatever. And let me just say something about that. How in the hell is that big enough in Japan that they're always full? There's people in there all day long trying to grab something with a crane, and it's like 40 or 50 games like that. Like, I'm not making this up in the slightest. Like, you walk by one, and at minimum, there's like 10, 15 people in there trying to grab something with a crane arm right now. Like, you're just like, dudes, you could go buy that thing. You know that, right? you know? But so the first floor is always that, and they're full of like anime stuff I've never seen before.
So it's 2 floors though? That's crazy.
That's like 1 or 2 floors are like UFO catchers. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, you know, that you're like, it is crazy. You're just like, and they're dude, I could talk for hours about this shit. Like, they're not even limited to just in the arcades. You walk down the street in Japan. I am in no way exaggerating, guys. There will be maybe on a big city block, there will be 2 stores that are only like capsule machines. Like imagine those things where you put a quarter in and you get a capsule out with a toy in it.
Yeah.
Dude, they're everywhere. Like they're the biggest thing. It's like a mini mart where the only thing in it is capsule machines. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like
That is weird, dude. That is super weird.
like, I tried to get you guys prizes, like your gifts aren't from those, but I was looking for like good capsule machines and I realized they're a scam most of the time. Because like I put like maybe the equivalent of $5 into a couple of them and like the most janky ass garbage bullshit. Like what's the name of the character in Smash Brothers? Like I don't know if he's in the new one, I forget, like, but he was in Brawl for sure. Whenever you unleash a Pokemon and this giant fat like cat falls past the screen or something, it's like it like covers the screen for a second. It's like a fall.
That's Snorlax, dude.
Snorlax. Okay. Does it sleep a lot? Is he like, yeah. I got like a janky Snorlax like out of one of them because I saw it had Pokemon on the side of it, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get these guys like a Pokemon in Japan or something. And it's like too janky to even give you. It's like a cheap ass like paper clip that's like looks like Snorlax or whatever.
Like
so
the postage stamp costs more than this thing.
yeah, it was
You're like,
ridiculous.
I'm gonna spend $5, damn it.
Yeah, I was like, I got my brother like a little toy dog out of one, and it's a piece of crap. I was like, all right, these are like more like for the joke of it than they are for like the thing you get out of it. And then some of them were like more expensive, so I wasn't going to put more money into it and get more junk. So I was just like, no, I'm done with this. But the UFO catchers are fun. I got a like Splatoon thing out of one of those. So I got a Splatoon like stress ball, I could describe it as, like out of one of them, because I was watching this boyfriend and his girlfriend like fail at it like again and again. I thought, this is not that hard. Like, what are you doing wrong here? Like just
Typical American. Let me show you how it's done. You're wrong, even though this is your country.
I politely waited. They took off. I got it on my second quarter or my second yen or whatever. Like I was like, come on, like this isn't that hard. Like you just got to time it right, you know. But whatever. Maybe I got lucky. But sorry, dude from Japan, if you're listening, you sort of sucked at that game. But then the second floor. So like I said, there's at least a floor or two of UFO catchers. Then every single one of them has a floor that's like, let me think. Like there's these games I've never ever seen in my life. I can only describe it as these are big right now. I don't know if these have always been big, but this is a big thing in every arcade right now. They have like games where it's like a screen in front of you, a big screen, and then a screen on flat in front of you, like a second screen, and you put cards on it. Like I'm not like cards, like playing cards,
like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like no, nothing I've ever. I couldn't identify the like whatever the IP of it. Like it was like if I had to describe it, okay, the cards must have like a chip in them or something, and you move the cards around on the screen, and it controls stuff on the game. And the one I watched the guy play was like it looked a little bit like a Fire Emblem type game where you were moving armies around the field, and the cards represented your armies, and so. It was like I couldn't tell if they bought the cards and brought them to the arcade or if somehow the arcade you get them there. I couldn't tell. I wasn't sure. Like but those were crazy. Those are real big right now. Like I saw those in every arcade. Like these card games is the only way I can describe it. Like but they're like they look like modern arcade games. Some of the arcades had a whole floor of these pod games that are like a full mech game that you sit inside and like close the doors even. And like control a mech, and it's really, really complicated. And I never even tried it because it was like you could tell it was like number one, all the instructions are in Japanese. Number two, it's got like five or six levers and buttons, and you're like, I don't know how to control that at all. Like I definitely do not. Like this is like you need to know how to drive a dump truck in America or something. Like you're like there's no way.
I haven't got my degree in this. Hold on a second.
Yeah. I'm not joking. Exactly. Like I would have been like, I'm just going to throw away like 200 yen on this. So no thanks. Like that's not happening. I mean, for God's sake, Mario Kart arcade was so hard that I just failed miserably at it. Like
really?
It was like, yeah.
You've never played Mario Kart GP?
No, like it's.
I figured that would be like easy. There's the pedals and then there's just the button for the.
It, so the way it works is like. Well, they have they give you the Toki drum guy, right? You had that choice. You saw a sushi guy and a Toki drum as your option.
So.
Right? And then they take a picture of you before you do their thing. And you use the filter. Yeah. They had That's in America. So if you want to practice, you just
They-
gotta go to Dave and Buster's.
I never saw it ever before. Okay, so that's at David Buster's because all the instructions are in Japanese and there's a lot of lead up to playing, and I was like, what am I doing? And I didn't really fail at the game once I was driving, but I couldn't figure out how to drift exactly without having instructions. And
Yeah, you have to like use the brake. There's no actual drift button like different like every other Mario Kart. You know.
Yeah, I was getting it by the time I finished, but it was like, I think it was like 200 yen, which is like $1.50 or $1.70. So I was like, I'm not doing well at this. Like I did do well they have the Luigi's Mansion game.
Oh, I love that game. Yeah, that's also at DMB.
Okay, I got to go down. We have one of those in Philly, Dave and Buster's. Do you have those up there, Matt? Do you have Dave and Buster's?
Yeah, there's I think one of those in the Palladium somewhere. Not in I was gonna say my city. Somewhere around here, like within an hour's distance. So.
Yeah, I didn't know if they had any like locations in your country, but
the big thing is if you right now, like look, they have those at Dave and Buster's because I guess that's where the money is. But there's a Red something. There's a new arcade place that's opening up in New York. It's only in California right now. Like a new one is open. I can't think of the name for it right now, but it's a Japanese kind of place. So you get to play a lot of those Beat Mania 2 DX, like a lot of them games and stuff.
Yep.
So that all the Japanese games are. I can't remember it. Something red. I mean, I have the card, but
I'll look it up later. That sounds interesting. I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, because I was gonna say one of the whole floors. That was the floor I spent the most time on. In fact, is the rhythm games because they're kind of universal.
They're amazingly fun, dude.
Yeah,
you don't really need instructions where you're like, I know music.
Exactly. That's the difference. Like you can figure it out without words, and Google Translate only gets you so far, and it's like I can't get this Google Translate to tell me how to play Left 4 Dead in an arcade with like a mouse and a joystick. And
Round 1, that's the name of it, by the way.
Round 1?
Yeah.
Round 1 arcade. I'll have to look this up. I'm gonna open a window for it so I don't forget. Let me see here.
That's where a lot of those Japanese rhythm games. I played like a lot of them when I was. There's a lot in Cali, and I know they just opened up one in Long Island, New York.
I see it here. I can't wait. Yeah, they got karaoke and everything, so they're definitely going. Oh, and they got ping pong. They're definitely going for the Japanese like flavor. Yeah, totally. Dude, they might have UFO catchers. Oh my god, I feel like I'm home.
Did you play the Taiko drum game? Did you play that?
I
was gonna ask that too.
I love that game. It's so hard.
It's everywhere, and I never got a chance. I was gone to the one, and like there was like some girls playing it. I was watching them so I could get the idea down. And it was like, and then I kind of got distracted by 900 billion other things in Japan, and like never went back to it. And I saw them, but the rhythm games like Groove Coaster is one that I had never seen before, which is like a really cool looking, it almost looks Tron-esque like cabinet that's like got these, I don't know how to describe it, like the controls are like these giant dials. But
I played that game. You move it left and right, and sometimes you gotta hit it, and it's like a squiggly line. They have that around one. That's like my favorite game right now.
It's really fun. Yeah, Groove Coaster is great because it's also trippy as hell. It's a little bit like, it looks a little bit like I'm thinking of Geometry Wars or something like that when you're playing it. It screws with your eyes, like because you're up close to it while you're playing it, and it's intentionally like visually overwhelming.
Yeah,
like
it's neon for the listeners.
Yeah, and like once you get going like further into it, like I got to like intermediate levels, it's like they purposely screw the visual so that it screws you up. That like the tracks are curving in all kinds of crazy ways, and you're just like, I can't watch this. Like, that's a thing. Like a million little things. Japanese kids are so hip to like the arcades. They bring their own headsets, and they have places for you to plug in your headset while you're playing so that you can hear the game. Like they all have it. Like they have like a socket for like earbuds or whatever like on it. So I felt like a total, Mike would call me a pleb because like I had to use the arcade like headsets, and like they weren't grimy, but I felt weird because I had to use the headset that was like there. Yeah. And I was like, because it's so noisy you can't hear anything, and I was like, I got to hear this game to be able to play it. So
of course, man, you can't play games with no sound though.
But mostly the weird thing about being a Westerner is like actually the arcades are fun as an experience, but like you end up not being able to play a lot of the stuff because unless you know Japanese, you're like struggling a lot. You're like, crap, these games are so complicated. Like even the fighting games, like everything, you're just like there's I can't even describe. There's a lot of fighting games. There's a lot of
fighting games are complicated even when you can read the language.
So you end up like looking at them more than you end up playing them. But I wouldn't say I hated it. It was just like it wasn't like, oh boy, here's like Japanese Donkey Kong or something. You know what I mean? It was like, it was like modern, like, and it's a thriving scene. I mean, it's not a cliche. You see older people, like older men mostly, playing games. You also see lots of teenage girls and teenage boys like in there playing the UFO games at the very least, playing some of the rhythm games. Like lots of teenage boys playing the rhythm games. Like after school, you could see it. Like the arcades are full, like the heyday in the 80s in America. Like there's kids in there like hanging out, and they're all like wearing like a school uniform, like a shirt and a tie, and they're all like hanging out, like crushing it at rhythm games, like or something else. It's just like it's mind blowing. But it's mind blowing mostly because you just can't believe how big it is. Like you're like, arcades never went away here. Like it's completely normal to come to an arcade and be not just a teenager and like hang out and play games, or something like that. Or at least it seems normal from an outsider perspective. Maybe they're freaks, I don't know. But yeah, so that's arcades.
Cool.
That's cool, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. What else, Matt? You want to talk about anything else? I don't know what time limit.
How long's
we're at.
that flight, dude?
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, you said
How was
how
that
long's the
flight? Yeah.
Oh my God. That's, I mean, like bring like 5 movies and like 20 games. It's, I flew to Chicago, which is only like 2 hours from Philly. But then we flew like 13 or 14 hours.
Holy shoot.
Yeah, it's about the longest flight you can really take besides like Antarctica or something.
Was that like, did you stop partway through, or was it just like one?
No,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
that's straight away. Like, I mean, it's long enough that like even if you have like Zelda, Thumper, Splatoon, what else did I got on there? ARMS, Binding of Isaac, which I'm totally addicted to, and countless other games on your 3DS. Azure Striker Gunvolt on your 3DS, like you still run out of games. You don't even feel like playing games anymore. You've watched 2 Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and and then we watched Get Out, the horror movie, which is pretty funny. Get Out and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and you played games and you read your book, and you're like out of stuff to do, and you're still flying, and you've slept. You're just like,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
yeah.
I imagine
it's-
it'd be uncomfortable just sitting there and getting like, I don't know, probably hot and sweaty, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
man, I can't sit in this anymore.
You guys will
But
love
you
this.
can't move around.
Yeah, you guys will love this. On the way there, on the way back, it's better to try and stay awake the whole way because like you time travel on the way back if you're coming to America or Northeast, because like we left Japan at 5 p.m. on a Thursday and we got home to America at 9 p.m. on the same Thursday because you're going back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you go backwards in time because Japan is 13 hours ahead of us. So it's like you're time traveling, like almost literally. Like, so on the way back, it's better to stay awake because then you're like trying to get reset, which I'm totally jet lagged still 4 days later.
Yeah,
But,
well, then you can sleep when you get home.
Yeah,
All the
like
time
yeah,
like
that's
that.
the idea. I mean, it's not working. I'm really messed up right now, like on my times or whatever, because it's like 11 in the morning or 12 in the morning right now there, or noon there, like based on the time we're recording this.
Mhm.
But on the way there, the funny thing is, my wife got us some sleeping pills, and I was like, I've taken maybe 3 times in my life, and like last time I tried to take one, it didn't work, so I didn't really sleep or whatever. So this time I took more. And I was a mess. Like I was like, my wife says it took a lot of patience to get through this with you because like I definitely know I crawled kind of under the seat while I was like half asleep. And so imagine if you're in an airplane seat. This is what happened. I stuck my legs under the seat in front of me and turned around and put my head on the seat and like was like kneeling. And I was like passed out, like doing this because, like you said, your butt hurts from sitting there.
Yeah.
And I feel like I couldn't wake you up, and you're just like snoring, and like you're like kneeling under the seat, like laying on the floor, kind of. And the stewardess comes by and is like, "Is he breathing?" He's like, "Yeah, he's breathing." He's like, "Is he okay?" And she's like, "Dude, he's just really tired. Like, let him go."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was a little rough. I mean, like I had to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2 twice because I watched it on pills, like on sleeping pills, and I forgot the whole thing. Like, I was like, that movie was pretty good. I don't remember a thing about it. Like, I should watch it again on the way home. So I did. Good. It was good the second time, except for the cheesy, corny ending. I liked it. I thought the ending was a little sappy, but like the first 2/3 of it were pretty great.
The ending was a bit video gamey.
Oh God, it was just too sappy toward the end. It was like they had to do the big wrap up with all them like loving on each other, and I was like, how about more of the sassy raccoon? You know, like, you know, like, but they're setting up for a third one, so whatever. But yeah, so the flight's long. Game shopping, I should probably talk about. Then we can. I mean, unless Matt or you guys or Mike, you have specific questions. Game shopping, like I said, and in summary, I won't go on very long about it. It's not very foreign friendly. So if you went there thinking you're going to pick up some cheap copy of some rare American game, forget about it. Like, imports are not a thing from what I could see.
Yeah.
Like,
did you find what you were looking for as far as games were concerned?
I did. I mean, like, I went to like 6 or 7 different games stores. I got to give a huge shout out at an hour and a half of this podcast I give a lot of shout outs to these guys all the time because it's one of my favorite podcasts, but Retronauts, and specifically Jeremy Parrish, that's one of their editors. He put together a game guide a few years ago for shopping in Japan that I used extensively and was a really great starting point. So tons of credit to Retronauts and Jeremy Parrish, who does an awesome YouTube channel too, for all like kind of retro gaming stuff. And history of Nintendo and all kinds of stuff. I went to like Super Potato is the one you always hear about. Super Potato is like a chain almost. They have like a few stores in different cities. They're kind of a little pricey compared to other places, but they got like everything. So if you were really hunting something, you could probably hit up Super Potato in Osaka or in Tokyo.
I love that name. It's so dumb. But
I know. Like, what's that about, right? Super Potato, but it's and they have different like store sizes. Depends where you go. But the one in Tokyo was really big that I went to. They had like 3 floors of retro, and it's like a library. It's not even like boutique like Nintendo World in New York. It's like, this is straight up like racks, like a library of like everything, you know, that you're like. But I was doing some price comparisons, and it's true. Like Super Potato is like almost double the prices in some cases, or at least like way more. Like, there was a store called Mandarake. It looks like Mandrake sort of when it's written down, but it's Mandarake, I think, or Mandarake. I don't know how they would say it, but that store was really great. They have a couple outlets. I went to. I ended up at a store called Friends. It translates as Friends in Japanese. In Tokyo, where I got my Super Famicom disk system, which I was repairing today and may have fixed, which is a story in itself for another day on the podcast. But and I went to a place called Trader, where this is kind of off color. So if you're sensitive, you should probably never listen to this podcast anyway. But
yeah, we've had Flea on here, people.
Yeah. But I went to this place called Friends that like I'd heard, or no, not Friends, Trader. It translates as like that, like they have a lot of modern games, and I'd heard they had retro games there. And I was mainly into collecting for Famicom and maybe looking at a little Super Famicom stuff. It's my first time really diving into this. Like, I like that world, but I've always wanted to. So this was a great chance. Really, really a great chance. So they got Famicom coming out their ears, like over there. It's like our NES, like basically. So there's just libraries of games everywhere you go for Super Famicom and Famicom, and even N64 and stuff, Game Boy, everything. They got it. Like, but it's all Japanese games. So you got to like either have the hardware or have a non-region locked way to play games or something like that. But I went to trade. My point of all that was I went to Trader and I'm looking for the retro games, and I go to the 5th floor, and to put it as tactfully as possible, they have like a lot. The anime porn thing is really big in Japan in nerd circles, and it's like I saw some stuff I can't unsee, and the stuff that would get you like arrested if it was on your hard drive in America type stuff. Like that, you're just like holy crap! Like, this is not made up. Like, they aren't reserved about stuff there by Western standards. So there's that.
Because the legal age limit is like 13 or something weird there. So
that explains a lot.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. Like,
And apparently, this is anecdotal evidence from Gaijin Goomba, who when it
Yep.
lived there for 2 years or whatever. As far as from what I've heard from him, high school for them is like college for us. Like
Okay.
the whole frat party, like this is
Oh.
your best years of your life kind of thing. Apparently, college isn't that for them, but high school is. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like their focus for there.
I can
So
imagine.
I guess that and like the age thing kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot I could say about that, but I won't out of tact or something. But it's like, that was a little mind blowing. So if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, it's not like everywhere, but if you're going to be floating around in gaming nerdy areas, you're going to see it. So be prepared. Like it's like the game stores, a lot of them are like multi-level affairs that like have different areas that are like anime or like adult, type stuff. And you're going to see it, if you wander around too much. So it's like, I guess I could see that putting some people off. I got a pretty thick skin for stuff like that, but it even caught me off guard that I was like, whoa, buddy, like kind of moments, but sticking to the games. Yeah, like, I mean, my strongest number one recommendation would be like what I was told and then I didn't listen to very well, but it's still true. If you have enough time to shop and you're going to Japan, make a point of spending one day where you go to a couple stores and write down the prices of the things you want and compare, because they do vary wildly and it depends on how rich you are. You might not care about spending $10 more for this game or that game, but it adds up. And I am spoiled enough to say that I'm looking at like 32 games that I bought, like laying here on the floor while I was there. Most of them are really cheap. Most of them are under $10. Like they're just like random Famicom games that are like just like NES games here. Like they're not super expensive. I did splurge on a couple things. I got Castlevania 3, the Japanese version, which has better soundtrack on it, like on the cartridge. I bought a Famicom disk system, and that was my birthday present from my wife, kind of. And then she bought me a boxed copy of Metroid and Kid Icarus for Famicom disk system, which both also have the enhanced sound. So I can't wait to try those out at some point when I have time and get the system working reliably enough to play long games like those. Well, long by 80 standards. So most of the games I bought, like I said, weren't that expensive. I mean, some were like $15, $20, and I didn't buy them all at once. I was buying them kind of like piecemeal, so it felt cheaper. But by the time I came home, funny story, like good traveler's tip, as I travel a lot, like fairly much, there's no reason a cardboard box can't be your check-on. I know that sounds hilariously ghetto, but like rather than when you're traveling and you buy stuff and you need to bring it home, like needing to carry it around with you or needing to buy another suitcase, you can literally buy a cardboard box, duct tape the crap out of it, and use it as check baggage. Just take some of your t-shirts or something and use it as like padding. I had so many freaking games that like my whole backpack was full and I had to carry around this cardboard ass box with me like everywhere I went. Like every time we moved like from place to place, it was
People
like,
think you're a hobo.
dude, it was funny because it's like it became like a joke. I have this giant box I'm carrying around with me everywhere we go, and it's like it became that I didn't want to put the games in the box because I was afraid of dropping it. So I put all the games and all the hardware and stuff in my backpack, and I just have this whole crate of my clothing like I'm toting around with me. It was ridiculous, but it's like the only time I've ever done anything like that, like where I bought enough stuff that happened. So it was just like, okay, like I got this box, like everywhere I go, I got to carry this box from place to place on the train and stuff or whatever. But it was worth it. Like I got games to last me well through the end of the year here, like that are all like old Famicom, old hilarious games. Like I've only played like one or two of them so far. Like I just put them in to mess around with Pac-Land, which is hilarious and hard as frick. And then what else did I play so far? I don't even know.
We'll just move on.
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah.
No, it's
in Japan.
Not a problem. Just to like keep it going or whatever.
Yep, sure.
Probably one or two things and then get going. So we have to talk about this. You went to different Nintendo locations. I figured you just went to the old one, but you said old and new. So why don't you talk about how you broke in?
Sorry, I forgot about all that. There's so much to tell you guys. Like I did the pilgrimage. For my birthday, my wife was super tolerant, and we took a train and then walked really far. I'm gonna have video of it eventually, and I'll definitely announce it when I've got it up and edited. I'm having some computer video. I think my video card's failing on my computer, so I don't know how soon I'm gonna get this video edited. But we walked not far, but like 30 minutes, 25 minutes from a train stop to Nintendo World headquarters, and the modern one first, in fact, is where we went first. It was more convenient to get to. And we like it looks really modern. They do have a retaining wall around the whole building, so you can't just walk right up to it. You definitely have to go through like a security gate. And security gate was open when I got there. And we were kind of lurking around, and my wife was taking pictures of me, like being a geek, like standing in front of the doors and stuff, like, you know, in front of the gates and by their signs and stuff that say Nintendo, you know, all that. And like I wanted to go in, and it was like 5 o'clock. It's like quitting time. And basically it looks like any other office building in America. It's a nice new looking building. Like, or there's two buildings, in fact, like on the same campus. They're like near each other, like a giant city block, like where there's two giant buildings and parking lots and stuff. You can see the logo and everything. There's like a building that has like the old logo on it, like the old school with the circle around it that they've kind of rebranded for Switch now. And then there's one that's a little more modern looking with just like the word Nintendo, but it's got their classic font like on it. You can see pictures on the internet, obviously. But I wanted to go in. This is the only funny real story. Like I wanted to go in, like, you know, and I knew they're not going to let me, but they have a guard gate. And like my wife is like egging me on. She's just like, come on, dude, go ask him if we can go in there and get a picture or something like that. And I'm like, all right, you know me, I'm crazy, whatever, I'll do it. So like I cruise in, I go to the gate, like the guard box, like, and they've seen me kind of lurking around. They're keeping their eye out. They're doing their job. Like they see me like standing right at the threshold of where you legally could probably stand before they could say you're on their property, you know? And I'm like, they've seen me for a while. It's been like 10 minutes where I'm filming and I'm like taking pictures, and like, I walk up, and as I walk up, even before I get the words out, like I have the tablet like out, like I'm ready to translate, like, hey, can I get one picture in front of the building or something like that? And he holds up a sign. It's like a pre-printed sign that says, you may not come in here, leave. And I'm like, like, you were ready for me. And my wife's like all scared, you know, she's like, what do they do? And I'm like, they told me to get out very clearly. Like, you know, they're like, get lost, like you weeboo, like get the fuck off our property, you know? Like, yeah. So that was that. It was neat. It was sunset. And the only other funny thing I can say about that is that I totally 100% got Street Pass tags from people that work at Nintendo, because cool. I was watching, and I was like standing by the gate with my 3DS in hand as the work shift was ending, and people were like literally coming like I was getting all giddy. I'm like, I wanted to like touch them. I'm like,
the people like, or the me's?
Oh, I wanted to touch the people. Like I was like, that guy might have like coded one line of the new Zelda, you know, like, you know, that guy right there, he might have like had something to do with a game I grew up loving, you know what I mean? Like it was mostly like younger looking engineer types and like secretary types and stuff. Probably not the head honchos, you know, programmers famous.
Some guys just like, I'm the janitor, dude.
You know, yeah, the
like,
well-dressed janitor, yeah, but yeah. True. But I mean, that's how it is in Japan.
Maybe, well, who knows? Miyamoto was a janitor too, and look how that ended up.
Totally, right. I mean, like,
You're like saw groveling at his feet. He's like, dude, just go away.
I mean, I saw some people that might have been something a little more because they like left in a car, and like most people were taking.
That's how you noticed they left in a car.
Not being ironic. Like, I mean, like they had a car parked inside the compound, so it's like they might be someone more important. They might just be someone who's visiting for business. Who knows? You know what I mean? But like. I 100% got like 3 or 4 Street Pass tags, and I definitely 100% filmed them when I unleashed them like into my system so that I can try and translate the names later and figure out who they were. Like,
you know, like look them up on LinkedIn, and I'm like, hey, I got a Street Pass from you. You
never
want to be friends?
Never know. Like, I mean, like you never know. I was just curious, so I filmed it when I opened the system. I like filmed the screen so I could capture their names and not like wonder who they were in the like 500 hits I got. So that's that. It was neat. That's cool. It's pretty. It's kind of in an industrial park area. It's not like in a happening downtown area. It's kind of like off by itself. So if you're ever going to go there, don't think it's going to be like some pimp excursion where you're in the middle of the city. Like it's like Pokemon World is in a mall in a really nice area in Kyoto, or at least one of them or whatever. So like it's like, that's cool because you go to a nice mall and it's like a real nice store, like with jam packed full of Pokemon stuff, which we can talk about some other week or something for you guys. But like Nintendo is like, it's in an office park type area, it's not like in downtown. So, and then to wrap up, yeah, like the very final day we were there, I was running out of time and I thought I wasn't going to get to do it for a minute because we had so much to do our final day, namely see things in Japan that are awesome and way more interesting in a lot of ways than original Nintendo. But I had to do it and luckily fit it in. I did take a train by myself. My wife was like, I'm good on this. I told her what it was going to be like. And she was like, sweet. But she's like, I got to go get some gifts for people. So she went and did that. And I took a train down to where original Nintendo the card building is. And, basically just saw it. It's a tiny little building. It's a little like building just on a little like residential street, like in a really quiet area of Kyoto. And it's like the picture you've seen of the plaque. It's like, it's got the plaque in Japanese too. I didn't know that till I went there. There's 2 plaques. And my Google Translate was like losing it because it couldn't translate it right. And I have this video that eventually, like I said, I'll post, but I was like Google Translate was not understanding the Japanese sign and it kept translating it as like university or high school or something like that. And I thought for a while, like, oh, maybe now it's a high school, or maybe it was a famous high school or a college or something, as well as Nintendo, because it's an old building. So maybe they have 2 commemorative plaques. And I actually say that in the video. And then like a minute after I finished filming, this woman and a man walked by and they were just casually walking by. I don't know if they were tourists or they were just like locals or, Japanese people who were like walking through this neighborhood for the first time or something. But I saw her see the plaque and I heard her go like, oh, and she quick got her phone and just took a picture, just real casual, but like took a picture of it. And I was like, I kind of got her attention because she was like the only person who in like the half hour I was there seemed to be interested in the building when they walked by. Mm-hmm. And I was like, can you tell me what that says? Like I can't read that. Like, what does that say? And I said, does it say Nintendo? And she's like nods. And she was like, yeah, that says Nintendo. And I'm like, really? And I don't know how much she understood of what I was saying. She was definitely not fully speaking English. She was just like, well, I was like, so that means the same as that. I was pointing at the English one and I said Nintendo. And she was like, yeah, that means Nintendo. So they have it in both languages, it turns out. And just a humble little building. Like it's not much to see, it's like it's mainly interesting if you're a Nintendo nerd like us on this podcast, like that you're like, this is where they made playing cards and where it sort of began, or whatever. So it was neat. I if I went back to Kyoto, I don't know if I would do it again, but I wouldn't say not to do it either. It's like, it was fun, it was like, hey, there's where Nintendo came from. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's one of those one-time visits.
Yeah, it was like same with the Nintendo building. Like I think anyone who's listening to an hour and a half long of nerds talk about Nintendo, if you go to Japan, you're probably going to want to do it. And I'd say just keep your expectations in check and get your pictures and you'll enjoy it, and maybe get your street passes if that's still a thing by the time you get there, so, but they don't have a gift shop. They don't have any memorial other than the plaques, like at the old place. I said to my wife, I said, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the John Lennon memorial or like the Jim Morrison, like grave or anything like that. But like the whole thing is like, you go there and a lot of people like leave stuff there, mm-hmm. like as a tribute kind of. And, like I said, I wish it was like that with Nintendo. I was like, if Japan wasn't the cleanest, most polite place I'd ever been, I'd get some like industrial super glue and like glue like a Nintendo statue to like the ground there and start it, like start it up and be like, everyone else, like leave your Nintendo icons here, like in tribute, or whatever. But that country's so clean, it would probably be swept up by a street sweeper like in 1 minute later after you left. So it's like, like it wouldn't do much. So, but it was neat. It wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was like spiritually moving, but I felt happy I did it, It was cool. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was Nintendo. So that's what we talk about.
Yep. One silly little thing. Apparently Pikachu runs the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the real prime minister of Japan.
He's He's the true prime minister. I was sending these guys pictures. First, I had a joke in my head that I was going to take a picture of every Pikachu I saw, and that would have broke my tablet if I like their Pikachu is bigger than I can imagine Mickey Mouse ever was in our country ever. Like it's beyond. It's beyond.
Yeah, when was Mickey Mouse on an airplane?
It's
still the thing is the crazy thing is like with Mickey Mouse, maybe some things like he was definitely popular, but how many things was he on and for how long? Like Mickey Mouse is obviously still relevant, but
sort of.
He's not like on everything imaginable.
No.
Like you don't really see him around everywhere anymore.
It's beyond to the Pokemon. Like what I wondered, this is maybe just me. This is as much a me question as it is a you guys question. Like wondering about myself. That is like, I wonder if you'd be as into Pokemon if it was as common here as it is there, because it is like, there's no comparison. Like Minions and Pokemon are so big. It's like everywhere you look. And I've heard Minions was like even bigger a couple of years ago. I mean, that's like fading out now. I've never even seen those movies. I just know what they look like. And and Minions are really, really popular visually speaking. Anime that I don't recognize, like Mike was identifying, is everywhere. And posters of anime and like cartoons I've never heard of are everywhere. But Pikachu is king and lord. Like it is like, I mean, banks have him on their signs. Stores have him on their desks. Like, I don't even know. I think a lot of them are licensed. They're not even just like rip-off like references. They're like, he endorses things. Like,
yeah. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
It's beyond describing that, to the point that I would forget to even think about taking a picture of it. Where I was like, oh, there's another Pikachu. But it's not even nearly unique enough to take a picture of enough for you guys. Like, it's just like, there's another one. Like, I couldn't even tell you why that one street I sent you guys a picture of on the chat. Like, there's a whole street where every street sign had a picture of a Pokemon on it. Like, and I had to send you guys, like Matt knows, I sent a picture to the chat.
Yeah.
Wondering, is this a Pokemon? Because it was before I'd seen a bunch of them. And you were like, yeah, that's a Pokemon. You like knew which one it was, like right away. And I was like, okay, just thought so, but I wasn't sure. Like, and then it was like every street sign for like blocks. I don't know if it was because I was kind of near Pokemon World when I saw that, or if it's just like an area like that has something to do with Pokemon.
Maybe I could see that being an explanation for the signs, but I know that Pokemon is definitely like crazy there.
That was even abnormal because it was like different Pokemon every block. Like it was like. Like, and they were, to me, who only knows the ones that are like the most famous ones, like it was obscure ones that I couldn't recognize, that I was like, it looks like the same art style. And that's all I know, it's like, oh, look, there's another Pokemon on a sign. But I mean, like Pikachu's everywhere. He must be like their national hero. Like, I mean, that's cool because Pikachu's funny, and it's like, whatever. It's just like, it was overwhelming in a way because you were like, you can't underestimate it. Like, I didn't see anyone doing Pokemon Go while I was there specifically, but that's been a thing that's been over for a minute, kind of not over, but not as big like right now or whatever. So, I mean, but there's no stop in the Pokemon machine. Like, I mean, I wanted to get you guys gifts at Pokemon World, and I'd already got you guys something to bring back that I mailed out today, except for Mike. He's late, but he'll get his. But like Pokemon World was like crazy because it's like chock full. I filmed some of it for you guys, and you can probably watch YouTube videos anytime you want of it. But it's like, I mean, it was ridiculous. Like they have Pokemon spatulas. They have Pokemon. I don't even know. Name it, and they have it. Like Pokemon raincoat, Pokemon like bed sheets. I don't even know.
Reminds me of Spaceballs. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the flamethrower.
It was worse. I'm not joking. It was worse than that because it was like, there were things that were so ridiculous. It was like that. It was like the cooking implements where I started to crack up. Like, that's why I remember spatula. I was like,
yeah,
who needs a Pokemon spatula? Like, like why? But I guess why not?
If it has Pikachu on it, you need it. What do you?
Yeah. I mean, Pokemon World was cool because it wasn't just Pikachu. I mean, yes, he rules the roost. He has by far the most merch in the store, but there were plenty of ones that was where I was like, man, I wish I could show these guys like real time, like without having like choppy ass video. Like I was trying to tweet some video and it wasn't coming through. So I was just like, okay, forget that. Like it's too much work. Like, of like which thing here is the thing you want the most that's like under $10. Cause it's like,
Oh my gosh.
it was just crazy. I was like, there were like bobbleheads. And I don't even know. I mean, just like crazy, cool, funny things like solar powered bobblehead of of obscure Pokemon that I've never seen or obscure to me. You know, they're probably real common, but
Oh my
like,
gosh, I'm looking up Pokemon World and I see a Pikachu doing a peace sign like on a
yeah,
wood log.
yeah, it's just
Like,
nuts. You would spend all your money if you're a collector for Pokemon. You would just
my
spend
God.
all your money. It was like I was walking around goggling at it, and I'm not even into it. And the stuff's cute enough, or kawaii, as you say. The stuff's kawaii enough that's like you want it, and you're not even into Pokemon. You're just like,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. I do think my food would taste better if I flipped my Japanese pancake with a sponsored Pokemon spatula. You know,
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like that was that. I don't know. Yeah, Pokemon is as big as you can imagine there. Yeah, I don't have anything. I wish I knew more about it to say more about it. It was like it was there in spades, and that's all I can say. You know, you would have no problem like getting your fill. You know, like if you get over there sometime. I mean, there was the Pokemon tournament video game I sent you guys a picture of.
Mhm.
You know, like an upright video game, like where you can play in the arcade. Just everything, you know. Yeah, Pokemon was everywhere. It was cool to see. I liked it. It's Japan, and I'll wrap up with that. Japan is really into, I think that's how you say it. It's called kawaii, is the word for like cute. It would translate as
Yeah, kawaii. Or
kawaii.
I think.
Kawaii. Yeah, I think you got it right the second time. You're closer, like kawaii,
Yeah,
or
like Hawaii, kawaii.
yeah. It's everywhere. Like every store has it. Like everything, signs, everything. Like you're just like, hey, you're going to the pharmacy. Why wouldn't a pharmacy have like a 10-foot tall, 200-pound plush toy in the doorway of like some random dog in a nurse uniform? Why not? You know, like it just makes the pharmacy better because you're like, look how cool that is. You know, it's like, I don't know, that it's truly like a lot of Japan is like that, especially the big cities. You're just like, you do get that weeboo like sense of like, I wish our country was a little more like this. Like this makes it funny everywhere you go. You're like, look at that.
Yeah.
Why do you have a giant man with a funny hat like hanging out of the window of your store like with a fishing pole? I don't know. Like it's just cool.
We have a weird clown that sits on a bench in front of our restaurants.
True,
right?
true. You got the creepy clown. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I loved it. Thanks for letting me talk about it so much because it's the kind of thing you come back from that place and you want to tell the world because you're just like, it's just freaking amazing. And I hope you guys get there sometime because I think you'll just like laugh your head off the whole time. You're like, this country is silly, like silly in the best way possible, like clean, nice, full of nerdy shit. It's Japan.
What more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for? That's their bumper sticker. So, so yeah. Sorry to go on so long about it, but
No.
you know, hopefully our listeners get
Okay.
something out of it. And genuinely to say, if there's anyone listening who's trying to go there or needs help or wants to hit me up, you know, I'm Unoclay on Skype and Unoclay on Twitter is probably a better way to come at me. Clay_switch also. So you can like ask me questions and I can be glad to help because I want to pay it back because other people helped me plan this trip. So I'd love to help other people if they get the urge. So
Cool. And I should have asked this at the beginning because it would have made the most sense. But how long were you there again? It must have been at least like 2 weeks.
yeah, it was like a little
It was
over
like
two.
a weird timing because I think you left on like a different day, or I don't know what day of the week you left.
Yeah. It was about two and a half weeks. So it was
Nice.
I'd recommend that if you go because the jet lag alone and the travel time kind of
Yeah.
requires it. So
Well,
I
yeah,
mean-
that's like literally half or a whole day is gone just flying, right?
Yeah.
So if
and
you
you're
took
really
a week,
tired. And you're really tired for like a day or 2 or 3. Like my wife and I have been together a really long time and we're like best friends, but we're also the kind of couple who we can scrap it out. Like we're not like nicey, like princess and prince all the time to each other. Like we're definitely a married couple who can get into it. And like, it is tough because you're tired and you're not sleeping well. And at the same time, you're supposed to be like doing all this crazy stuff and having all these adventures. so you're getting tired on top of being tired.
Mhm.
And it's like it's easy to like get into like bad moods with each other, and like like that's just a general travel recommendation. If you have a partner who you love, give each other some space, and even if you're good enough at it, like give each other like time apart, like where you like me and her are like both totally fine doing things by ourselves. And once we got our Skype and our Wi-Fi beacons working, we just like would like spend an hour apart, and it would make a lot of a difference. It would be like, all right, well, she's going to go shopping for like Japanese knives or something like that she's into, and I'm going to go look at nerdy crap and pretend I'm not looking at the anime porn over here, you know, and that kind of stuff, you know, like, but that's a general tip. But generally the travel, if you're coming from North America, is far enough that you're going to have to A, deal with that exhaustion factor, B, deal with that time of travel, and C, Japan is humongous. I'd say, not knowing without Googling it, I'd guess it's at least as tall as America's East Coast. At least, and that's not including the Japanese islands that you'd have to fly to and stuff. So like you need a lot of time, and we only did 4 major places. And that felt like just enough time, but still felt like we didn't do everything we wanted to in like Tokyo or in Kyoto, especially. We didn't have enough time. We like ran out of time in Kyoto. And we had to come home before we were quite felt like we'd seen everything there, but such is life, you know, you're never going to see everything. So, but yeah, I'd say like, I mean, if you could only go for a week, I wouldn't say not to do it, but you'd have to pick your battles. And I'd say, here's the irony. I'd almost say skip Tokyo, because it's a lot like Japanese New York City, and it's awesome and cool. And it's got, you know, Electric Town Akihabara, which is where all the gaming and anime stuff is. And that's really great. But Osaka is like where all the food and the lights are. And they also have a little nerd town too called Den Town, or I don't know how to say it. There's a Japanese word for it that I'm forgetting, but like Den Town is how you can shorten it. Nippano Bishi or something like that, but I forget, is the Japanese word for it. But it's like a nerd zone of the city. And then, so Osaka was like maybe our favorite. And then like Kyoto is like old Japan with like old buildings and stuff like that. And so you got to go there, and it's really, really pretty and really cool, and has nerdy stuff also, but not as much. Like that's kind of a Tokyo Osaka thing. But yeah, it's hard to say. But anyone wants any input on this, I'm glad to give it. I'm gonna be happy to do it. So.
Well, cool. That was awesome. Thanks for sharing your trip with us.
Yeah, it's relevant to the podcast. So yeah, I didn't feel too bad about it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun hearing about that. I think we as gamers, well, I guess I don't want to generalize, but I'm pretty sure a lot of us still want to go to Japan at some point.
Yeah.
Just to get a feel for where games are made, and just an interesting culture, to say the least.
Yeah, it's an amazing country, and gaming was only like 1/5 of like my experience there. That's not a joke. Like, it's just an amazing, amazing place that I could do a whole nother hour on talking about how awesome Japan is in other ways. Like they're clean, they're nice, and it's safe. It's all the things you look for in a crazy vacation, you know, like, well, not always, but I mean, really good things to have, you know, so a little pricey, but their money spends a little cheaper than American right now. So for a Canadian, God, it'd probably feel like Walmart or something, you know, you'd be like, God, I can buy everything here, you know. Yeah, so
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but I'm just kidding, but I know you guys got some weird inflation or something compared to us.
Gosh, it's horrible. I'm buying a controller, and it's in euros. And I'm like, oh, that's probably cheaper than weaker. For some reason, I didn't actually know the exchange rate, and I'm like, oh, European dollars or euros or whatever, pounds, I think his is. But I'm like, oh, that's probably less than the American dollar. I should be good. It's like, nope, it's like even more expensive. I'm like, crap, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The exchange rate is nuts.
Yeah. That's you guys kind of get bit on stuff like that. Like,
we're getting better. Oh, here, 1 Canadian dollar is worth 60 British pound, or 60 cents of a British pound.
Okay. Yeah. Well, your money doesn't spend as well comparative to yen as ours does. I'm looking it up too. We're both doing the same thing here. Like, your money spends less well there than ours does. But let me see. What do you? I this might be more math than I can do right now.
Just go to USD 2, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I was doing that, but the problem is I'm trying to figure something out that's like, so your money spends less well in Japan than ours does, but our money spends worse well in your country right now. So I'm getting confused. I need to like
I
map
don't
this
know.
out. Kind of graph.
I'm not
like,
sure how you mean that.
Yeah, like I need to map it out with like a graph, like to figure that out, because something's confusing me here about that. But it's like, I mean, that might be because the strength of the dollar against yen is just going to be better than I can't get my head around it. Sorry. Obviously we're idiots about this stuff. Like anyone listening, but
I'm just doing like the straight dollar to dollar conversion. That's all I'm thinking of.
I want like a 3-way comparison is the problem. I want to know
okay.
Does it match all the way across? Like, so if my money is better in Japan than yours, does that mean my money is better than yours, period? Which
yes,
it is, right? Like our money spends better than yours, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. So then, yeah. So in this scenario, U.S. dollar is the strongest, but that means that your money is stronger than Japanese. I think if I'm reading my translations correctly here. So
no.
I think you would still have like a cheaper vacation than you would otherwise.
It's almost parity. The Canadian dollar to yen. It's like 90 cents.
Oh yeah, but that's what Americans is like too. Like I mean,
no, Americans is you're actually more. It says here your dollar is worth $1.12. There.
Right. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, it's like our money is better and yours is worse. Okay,
Yeah.
so yours is worse than yen. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
we've
sucks.
solved it. Yeah, that sucks. Don't go to Japan yet. Wait till that flip flops.
It's close
So,
enough.
yeah,
It's better to go to Japan than it is to go to America.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There you go. There you go. As long as you can.
Guess
as long
I'm
as
not.
you can.
There's you people anything. No, I'm kidding.
That's funny. Well, there you go. Well, it's a lot cheaper to get. I'll tell you that.
That's so weird. It's so in a weird way. It's cheaper to go 13 hours across the country than it is to go like an hour.
As long as you have a cheap flight, I would say the flight was not cheap to get there. That was the most
really?
expensive part about getting there. Yeah, like it was. Airbnb is big in Japan, so we got Airbnbs for most of the time. It's illegal, but everyone does it. So like some of the places we rented, they literally told us on our check-in, it said, do not mention to anyone in the building that you're using Airbnb here or whatever. Like, it was like clearly like not cool if they found out like that you were Airbnb. So, but it's not hard to get one and you can book them and they're way more cheaper than a hotel. So, yeah. So anyway, like that's another Japan tip for you. Like I booked hotels and then found out, wait, you can do Airbnb, forget that. And like saved ourselves like tons and tons of money, cheaper than like renting a hotel in America by far, like, or anything like that. So yeah, but anyhow, enough about Japan. Yeah. I'm sick of it. I'm never going back. Okay.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here for this week. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and VidMe. And Unoclay, where can everyone find you for your Japanese knowledge?
You can hit me up, as I said, at Unoclay on Twitter or Unoclay_Switch. Join me on either of those places or send me a friend request on the Switch itself, and maybe we'll play some games together sometime.
Cool. So we'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.